What's up, friends? Welcome into another episode of Tables, Tailgates, and Top Loaders. So happy to have you all aboard for this episode. I'm your host, TB. Thank you all for stopping in and checking out the 3Ts podcast. Now, first and foremost, I want to say I'm sorry I missed last week's podcast. Sometimes life just gets in the way. Full disclosure, I had every intent on trying to squeeze in a podcast, but too much was going on. My son actually joined the Navy. I had to send him off to boot camp, and then immediately upon him getting sworn in, I then had to hop in the car and drive, 12 hours down to Florida and be with my mom, who was having open heart surgery. So I was there for about 8 days, and then I just didn't get a chance to do the podcast. So many apologies. Hope you can forgive me, but here we are. We are back better than ever, ready to dive right back in, and I can't wait to see where this pod goes. So we're going to start with Bills Mafia. You are on the clock. How the heck are we feeling? First and foremost, congratulations, everyone. We have signed our number one running back. James Cook signed a contract, and this has taken Bills Mafia by storm. I have heard every side of this argument. Some are in love with this deal. Some think it's fine, and some absolutely hate it. You know, when I'm in the car and I'm driving for literally 24 hours over the course of 2 days, had a lot of time to check out some opinions and listen to different podcasts and hear different opinions, and it's all over the map. Like I said, some people think it's a fine deal, and others are literally going crazy. I'm hearing local sports podcasters or local sports Buffalo sports casters, people that I've listened to for years, just tear into this deal, basically saying, how could they do this? This is crazy. Why would they ever spend this kind of money? And I'm trying to be objective about the whole thing. I'm trying to really look at this deal from both sides. Number one, do I want the player? Yes, I do. I want the player. I think James Cook makes this team so much better. And I think we underestimate how good he is for this team. Now, if he goes and plays for a different team, do I think he's as good? I'm not sure. But you put him on this team with our offensive line and the way they've gelled over the last 2 seasons. Now, his rookie year, he didn't really have a full workload of playing time, but obviously the last 2 years, he's been the guy. Now, we do have a running back committee, but when all is said and done, he's the number one guy. And he's really blossomed. He's a very patient but explosive runner. He is by far one of the top, outside of Josh Allen, he's by far one of our top 2 offensive weapons. The guy is fast, he's quick, he's elusive. I think he fits perfectly with our offensive line. And so I just don't get the hatred of this deal. It doesn't really make sense to me. I get the money, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But the overall hatred, saying the Bills were stupid and all this stuff, and we can literally just go plug in any other running back and we'll be just fine just because we have Josh Allen. I don't know if that's true. I get Josh Allen makes up for a lot of our flaws, a lot of our weaknesses, but I'm thinking about this deal. I'm looking at the numbers. Now, obviously the deal came out, it was 4 for $48, but if you break down the deal, which we're going to look into in a minute, it's a little different than that. So what I was thinking about is, okay, if we're not going to pay James Cook this money and we're just going to think we can get by with plugging and playing in the next whoever we draft in addition to Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, do I think we're going to be as explosive as we are with Cook on the field? I think the answer is no. And so do we save that money? And people are like, well, we could be spending that money on fill in the blank. And I'm like, okay, but who? Who are we getting? We've already seen that I don't see this team going out and spending the money on a number one wide receiver, a true number one. I don't see that happening in the next few years. When you're paying your quarterback $55 million, are you really going to sign up and pay a number one wide receiver $30 to $40, $45 million a year? Plus, who are you going to go get? Like, I really don't think there's a whole lot of number ones that are out there on the market. And so I think it was important for Beane and McDermott to solidify the core of this team. And we've seen that happen over the offseason, right? Shoring up a good young core of this team to go along with Josh. And it's clear that they are planting their flag. This is the group they want moving forward. And James Cook is part of this deal. But the hatred, I was just like, what are you all talking about? Number one, it's not your money. Okay. Well, I know we did a podcast earlier with the crowdsource tag, and obviously the commission never called me. He never asked me my details on that, so that's not being implemented anytime soon. But at the end of the day, this is not my money. It's not your money. And the salary cap, the cap that the team has each and every year, obviously it goes up. But the salary cap, while we want to believe it's real, it kind of is real. It sometimes is real, but yet not really. So it's always getting manipulated and massaged and all kinds of craziness. And so at the end of the day, it's not my money. So why am I going to get so bent out of shape? At the end of the day, we re-signed a really, really good running back. And that's what we need on the team. We need really good players. So for people to lose their minds and say, we shouldn't pay this, we should save this money for Connor McGovern. And I'm like, okay, we're already talking about re-signing Connor McGovern. He's a center, by the way, a center, or, paying one of our guards. And I'm like, yeah, those positions are important. I just got done telling you we have a really great offensive line. And I think they work beautifully in conjunction with Cook. And I think that's where this deal is really, really blossoms, right? Cook in conjunction with this line is great. They're great. They play well together. They read well together. Like, I just think it's a perfect combination. Yeah, I don't get the hatred, folks. I don't understand it. But if you want to complain and say, oh, we shouldn't have signed him and we'll let him play out. But the other thing is this: we have the opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Do we really want team distractions through the year? Do we really want it? And Bean even said this, like, he came out after the deal was done. He's like, I really needed to get this deal done because, just like I said, he didn't want distractions on his team. And I think that that's super important. So what is that worth to you? What is that worth knowing it is all systems go? Your foot is on the gas. We are on a collision course with the playoffs and potentially a Super Bowl appearance. And you get everybody in line. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's moving forward. I don't want to talk about the guard or the center a year or two from now, and we should have saved that money. No, put the best product on the field right now and roll the dice, and this is what we got. Justin Jefferson isn't lining up outside Orchard Park waiting to throw the Bills uniform on. It's just not happening. Jamar Chase is not coming here. So what are we talking about? You pay the players who are available to you at the time. James Cook is a great player. He helps this team, and he's available at this time, and it's a right fit for the team. So I think it's a win-win. But what I wanted to do, because people are so bent out of shape over this deal, was go back through the last 15 years of running backs that the Bills have put on the field. Really look at the running backs. And what I did was I looked up every single contract for every running back that the Bills have had in the last 15 years. And I kind of did a real quick total, and I came up with how much on average we're spending per year since 2010. So I thought it'd be a fun exercise. Let's go back and see how much we're paying these guys in the last 15 years and see if it makes sense. So we start all the way back in 2010. Now, who are the running backs at that point? Your top two running backs were Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller. 2010, those two salaries combined for about $7 million. Now, that's 15 years ago. We're paying two running backs a total of $7 million. Anybody want to remember what our record was at that time? Well, I will tell you. We won 4 games, 4-12. So great season, right? $7 million for the running backs, and we were 4-12. Fast forward to the next year, 2011, same two guys. Actually, we had the same two guys for 5 straight years. 2011, we also paid them $7 million, and we won 6 games. So 6-10. And we repeated this in 2012, and we repeated this in 2013. However, we paid the same two guys, Fred Jackson, CJ Spiller, their totals between the two of them, $9.5 million. $9.5 million in 2012, $9.5 million in 2013, and $9.5 million in 2014. And what were our win totals? 6, 6, and 9. So there you have it. For the 5 years we had Fred and CJ, we won 4 games, 6 games, 6 games, 6 games, and 9 games. And we were paying 7, 9.5, 9.5, and 9.5. That's a lot of money. $9.5 million back in 2012. You're telling me that who was going crazy over those contracts back then when we were winning 6 games? Now, I know you're going to tell me, yeah, but we weren't paying Josh Allen $55 million. Okay, great. But you still have to put your money somewhere. So then we go to 2015, and LaShawn McCoy is the main guy. He's brought in here. and we pay him a lot. So between him and the second running back on the team, now what I did, I looked up the roster and I just looked to see who the top 2 running backs were on the team as far as games played, who's the second guy. It's clear LaShawn McCoy is the workhorse at this point, and he will be for 4 seasons. But I always wanted to pair the starter up with the second guy and just see where we're at. So McCoy, and if you remember, Carlos Williams, he was on the team. So McCoy and Williams together, we paid them $8.6 million. $8.6 million. Now, LaShawn McCoy played 12 games in this season, and total yards from scrimmage, 1187. How many games did we win? Oh, we won 8. We were 500, 8-8. Is that great? No, but that's still $8.6 million back in 2015. That seems like a lot of money. Next season, we had LaShawn McCoy again, and he was partnered with Jonathan Williams. Again, roughly between the two of them, their contract was about $8.6 million. Most of this, obviously, was McCoy's deal. McCoy, at the time, he signed, if you remember this, he signed a 5-year deal worth $40 million. So 5 for 40, roughly $8 million per year. And then Jonathan Williams was right around like $600K, I believe his deal was. But McCoy this year, he finished with 1,623 yards from scrimmage. So that's a pretty good season for your starting running back. But how many games did we win? Oh, we won 7. 7-9. We finished 7-9. So we go to the next year, McCoy again. And this time we tag him up with Mike Tolbert. Does anyone remember Mike Tolbert? Well, he made a little more money. So the two of them combined were making $8 million. Or I'm sorry, the two of them combined, Tolbert and McCoy, were making $9 million. Now McCoy had a great season, finished with 1,586 yards from scrimmage. And how many games did we win? We won 9 games. 9 games. This is the year we break the drought. And then the next season, McCoy, he's always getting a new running mate. This year we pair him up with Chris Ivory, who came in making more than the previous 3. And so those two combined, we're paying them $10.75 million. $10.75 million. Now, this was McCoy's worst season. He only finished with 752 yards from scrimmage, and we won a whopping 6 games. But $10.75 million we're spending on the running back position in this season, and I don't recall anyone going crazy over the contracts then. And then the next season, this is where we start to we go through the cheap period of our running back by committee approach. We have Devin Singletary. Now, he's a rookie at the time, and we pair him with good old workhorse Frank Gore. Now, between Devin and Gore, we're paying them $3 million, and we win 10 games. That's pretty good, I guess. If we're going to say, oh, this is what it takes. Don't pay your running backs, so $3 million, and you get 10 wins out of it. The next season, we get Devin, and Zach Moss is primarily running back 2. We're paying those two guys $2.2 million, and we managed to win 13 games. So that's really good. Then the following year, we have Devin, we have Zach again. Now it was dealing with injuries, so I just threw in Tywan Jones to round out the RB room. We're paying those guys $4 million, and we win 11 games. Now this brings us up to the beginning of James Cook's career. So 2022, James Cook's a rookie. We pair him with Devin Singletary, obviously. Now, James Cook is on his rookie deal, so between Devin and Cook, we're paying them $4 million. And 2022, we win 13 games. James Cook, obviously, he's kind of the backup, but he collects 687 yards from scrimmage. Flash forward to 2023, Devin's gone. He goes and signs with Houston, I believe. And now we pair James Cook with good old Latavius Murray. And we're paying these two guys $3 million a year. Now, James Cook really takes off here, and he finishes with 1,567 yards from scrimmage. And everyone goes crazy because he doesn't score any touchdowns. Yeah, I think he had 2 rushing, 4 receiving, so 6 TDs. And we win 11 games. And then, obviously, last year, so the third year of Cook's rookie deal, we pair him with Ray Davis, who we drafted, and Ty Johnson, who's a free agent. We're paying the running back room right around $4 million. Cook amasses 1,267 yards from scrimmage, and his TDs go through the roof. And everyone's like, oh, my God, it's amazing. And we're paying him. He's still on his rookie deal, third year of his rookie deal. Now, the touchdowns are going to fluctuate. So I don't want to hear, well, in 2023, he was terrible. In 2024, he was amazing. Like, they're going to even out. And sometimes that's just luck, right? So, and of course, last year we do great. We win 13 games. Look, that brings us up to present day and James Cook's new deal. And what are the details of his current deal? Well, it came out 4 for 48, and it's an extension. He still is playing on that rookie deal. And so next year, we're paying James Cook, he gets a 1.2 base salary, 1.28. Great. I mean, we'll sign up for that all day. And the rest of the guys, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, they're making 2.5. So right there, we're paying them almost $5 million. So just under 4.75 million. The problem is we're going to add a $9 million signing bonus for the James Cook contract, which brings the room up to $13.75 million for 2025 season. Let's look at that. You compare that to 2018, where we're paying McCoy and Chris Ivory almost $11 million. Are you telling me that 13.75 7 years later is that much different with the cap and inflation and all that stuff than we were paying in 2018? Almost $11 million for McCoy and Chris Ivory? Like, I just don't understand what we're talking about here. And yes, it's a lot of money, but also the cap keeps going up. These teams are making more and more money. The league is just raking in money hand over fist. Yeah, I get it, but maybe we just need to take a deep breath and just think about the product on the field. I have no issue paying him this money because he's a good player and it keeps the team together. Like I said, the offensive line is intact, and I think good things are ahead for the 2025 Buffalo Bills. I'm excited. Happy to see Jimbo. The one thing I don't want to hear from good old play-by-play announcer Chris Brown all year is the cook is in the kitchen. I got so tired of that after the first game, but needless to say, it is what it is. I'm excited to have him back. And there you go. So I just wanted to do a little exercise with that. I thought that was good. What else are we going to talk about with Bills Mafia? Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is out. Episode 2 dropped last Tuesday. I got a chance to watch it. I watched it with my daughter, her boyfriend, as I was visiting down in Florida last week. They were gracious enough to go back and rewatch episode 1. I had not yet seen it, but I got to watch episode 1 and then immediately watch episode 2. Episode 1 I thought was fantastic. Fantastic. I thought it was the perfect entry point to the Bills team. I thought if you're an outside observer, you're going to be entertained by that episode. A lot of cool things going on there. Obviously, it focuses a lot on Josh. And so I'm watching episode 1, and the only thing I'm thinking is it's hard to not watch this episode with, it's hard to not have a smile on your face as you're watching episode 1. When Josh comes through the tunnel wearing the red jersey, the red helmet, and the face mask there, and they start playing Mr. Brightside, and he's throwing to the kids in the stands at the blue and red. It was awesome. And I'm just watching that last 5 to 6 minutes of the episode. It finishes, and I'm ready to run through a freaking wall. I am jazzed. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Like that right there, that little clip at the very end of the first episode was what it's about. And so I'm watching this episode, and I'm like, holy crap, this is my team. This is my team on HBO Hard Knocks. Never thought in a million years the Bills would be on this show. Not that I've seen a lot of it in the past, but normally this show is about dumpster fires of teams and dramas and all kinds of crap going on behind the scenes. But it was just so cool to see my team, the Buffalo Bills, on display for the whole world to see. And the last 5 to 6 minutes just made me super pumped and super excited. Now, episode 2, a little bit different story. I think we backed the excitement factor way down. So if we started at a 10, I think this one dropped all the way down to like a 4. Because there really wasn't a lot of craziness going on in episode 2. Obviously, they briefly touched on the James Cook contract scenario and said he wasn't practicing. We saw the first preseason game and some things that were going into that. We saw Ray Davis kick an extra point, which was really cool. But the main points of the whole episode, you got KJ Hamler and his scooter. You got DeMar, which we've heard that story a billion times. Coach McDermott talks about his skin cancer, which great, public service announcement. I get it. Awesome. But the biggest story is Joe Andreessen. And I thought the coolest moment of the entire episode was the photo they showed of him with JP Lossman. And I'm like, holy crap, that is a blast from the past. That's awesome to see. But again, it's like nothing earth shattering. And what it led me to believe after watching episode 2, and I think this is a problem with picking the Bills, there's no drama on this team. You want to talk drama with the contract situation? Well, it's over, number one. And was it really that dramatic? Yeah, we had some hold-ins and he missed a practice here or there, but who cares? At the end of the day, it really wasn't a lot of drama. It wasn't a lot of distraction, and there's no drama on this team. So you could watch this episode, this team, this show from an outsider's point of view, and you could legitimately say, hey, this team's kind of boring. There's not a lot going on here. And I kind of like that as being a fan because I don't want the distractions. It goes back to the contract scenario. I don't want the distractions. And that's exactly what you want going into a season where this is make or break Super Bowl time. And so, yeah, episode 2, kind of boring. There's 3 to go. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. Hopefully it's we turn the excitement factor up a bit. I don't know. I would love to see Matt Milano mic'd up for an entire episode, and maybe he says more than 6 words. So that would be fantastic. But we haven't seen Dalton Kincaid. We haven't seen Milano. We haven't seen Christian Benford or Terrell Bernard or any of these guys. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. And like I said, 3 more episodes. I'm not too sure what they're actually going to fill it with, but I will be watching each and every one of them. Anyway, that'll wrap up the Bills portion. Let's turn our attention to the top loaders portion of the program. Card enthusiasts, how are we feeling? A lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is the upcoming release of 2025 Bowman Chrome Baseball. Now, pre-orders went live on August 11th. Unfortunately, with all the chaos surrounding my life at the time, I had kind of missed the initial window. And of course, by the time I got onto Topps, everything was sold out. And originally these hobby boxes were going for $290. And in a hobby box, you get 6 packs, 10 cards per pack. So 60 cards for $290. How are we feeling about that? This product releases on September 10th. Maybe you'll get a chance to buy at retail prices when it actually drops for about, 3 minutes before everything goes crazy. But originally a $290 hobby box, and now you go to these secondhand sites. So Dave & Adams, Blowout Cards, Steel City. And what are we looking at? $400 for that same hobby box. 60 cards for $400? What the hell are we doing? That's crazy. I do like the cards. I like the set. It's a 100 card base set. Plus you get 40 red RC variations. Now, I talked about this before, but they pick 40 rookie players for the year. And if they happen to win the Rookie of the Year, then this essentially is a buyback program. You can either turn it in for X amount of dollars, or you can hold, hoping they win MVPs in the future, potential Hall of Fame careers. I mean, the money for these buybacks per accolade continues to go up. But 100 card base set. Then you have 100 prospects. This prospects set is also paper, so brings the total up to 200. So 100 card base set, 100 card prospect paper set, and then a 50 card prospect chrome set. So roughly 250 cards total for the entire set. The highlight, in my opinion, of this entire product, which I saw this and I was like, this is awesome. And this is the only reason I want to buy this. GPK and Bowman, so Garbage Pail Kids, have combined with Bowman, and they have a 50 card set insert that they took a lot of these players and they melded them with GPK. And I love this. I love it. They took rookies, they took current players, and they took retirees, Hall of Famers. So you get David Ortiz, Sammy Sosa, Derek Jeter, Miguel Cabrera, Ichiro, Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Pujols, to name a few of the historic players. These are awesome. If you haven't seen the Juan Soto that looks like Atom Bomb, the original GPK #1, it's an awesome card. I am definitely going to be trying to track these down on eBay and buy these specifically, but I sure as hell am not paying $400 for a hobby box in the hopes of hitting 1 or 2 of these in the entire box. But that's absolutely crazy. Let me know what y'all are thinking of this set. Obviously, the prices are through the roof, but it should be interesting to see what happens. Maybe I'll look into trying to get into a break or something with Bowman Chrome Baseball, but we shall see. What else is happening? GPK 40th anniversary. So Garbage Pail Kids 40th anniversary. I talked about this product in a previous pod. This was a cool product when this originally was on sale for pre-order. I believe this was retailing for $79.99 or $99. I can't exactly remember, but now it released and you can't find it anywhere other than the secondary markets, and the prices are bananas. These are going for $250 to $300 a box. You're only getting 40 cards in this hobby box. I've seen some of these openings. I've seen some of the videos. I got to be honest, they look awesome. So I'm definitely living with a little regret that I missed my window. These cards are sick. Hopefully they start to come down soon, but there's no way I'm paying near $300 for a box. What else came out? GPK also released a 2024. Now this is weird because it was a 2024 GPK, but these are called Battle of the Bands, and this is a Green Day specific release. These look really, really sweet. This is a hobby box of 50 cards. It was originally listed on pre-order for $79.99. They immediately sold out. These are awesome. Some of the inserts are fantastic. This product releases on August 27th. They have album art covers with GBK spin on it. So you see like some of the classic Green Day album covers, and they do an awesome mashup between the album and a GBK spin. These look fantastic. They have autos from the actual band in there, and they have tour used relics. They have the relics by themselves, and they have the relics paired with autos. Awesome product. I would love to see this continue with different bands. I think it would be great. Obviously, other people feel the same because you can't find them anywhere. And now people are already selling them for $110 to $120 on the secondary market, even though they haven't even come out yet. So pre-sales are live. You can't find it anywhere, but you're going to have to pay through the nose if you want to get your hands on one of these. They look super cool. I would love to see a Pearl Jam set. I think that would be fantastic. I would definitely be buying that. What else? 2025 Topps Chrome WWE Cactus Jack. Have you all seen this? They did this last year. The problem with this card, I don't like them. I actually don't like them. I pulled this up. A hobby box is roughly 80 cards. You're not guaranteed any autos. You're guaranteed a lot of parallels and variations, but hopefully you get some autos, but it doesn't say on the box 1, 2, 3 autos guaranteed. Doesn't say that anywhere. So 80 cards. I don't even like the way these look. They have the sepia tone to them. They're very kind of dull. And if you don't know Cactus Jack, it's the Travis Scott combo with WWE. And, oh, how much are these, by the way? These are $600 pre-sale secondary market for a product that releases in 2 weeks, August 29th. $600 for cards that just don't even look that good? I don't know what we're doing, folks. Travis Scott, like, is he that big a deal that we're going crazy? But if you ask me, between these and the original Topps Chrome WWE product that released way back in January, I would go with that all day, every day. I wouldn't even pay $600 for this if this was my if money were no object buy of the week. I wouldn't, because I just don't like the way the cards look. And $600, holy crap, we have lost our freaking minds. I don't know. Maybe you like them. Maybe it's just me. I hate these cards, but yeah, this is definitely not a product for me. So what am I opening? I actually finally opened my first F1 cards. My wife was up in Buffalo. She went to the Dave & Adams store. I had her buy me a box of 2024 Topps F1 Paddock Pass blaster box. Now I opened this. This was a lot of fun, and it's a cheap entry point. I never opened F1 cards. I started to get into F1 a couple months ago, went to see the movie. The movie was awesome. We talked about that before. And I really wanted to start to look at some F1 cards. And so this is a great entry point. The blaster box was only $19.99. So you really can't go wrong with that. You get 30 cards in the blaster box. You get 3 X-Fractors that are chrome, and you also get 3 regular chromes. I finished with 6 red parallels in this box. So out of 30, that's pretty good. Like I said, $20. But the one insert I love is the Nightscapes. These cards are awesome. They look very similar to the Photogenic, or I would say the Stadium Club. If you like the look of Topps Stadium Club, you will love the Paddock Pass F1. It's very similar photography. I love the way these cards look. Great photos, great action shots. But yeah, check out the Nightscapes inserts. These are sick, which leads me to my if money were no object buy of the week. Now I know this is on the lower end, but if money were no object, I would go buy me a hobby box of this because I think these are fantastic and it was super fun. So for $275, I can buy a hobby box. I get 128 cards, and I would hope to hit an auto or something called, which is awesome, a smoke show relic. This is a very special insert in the product, and these are numbered to 35 or less. I love the way these cards look. You could get like some sort of part of the car or some kind of jersey, glove, whatever, some sort of relic from the car or the driver, and it's a numbered card. And like I said, the photography on this set is sick. So that's what I would do. But anyway, that's what I saw in the hobby world. For card collectors, that's what I'm kind of focusing on. Now let's turn our attention to the world of the WWE wrestling marks. How the heck are we feeling? We are just coming off the high of SummerSlam. That was a huge weekend. And I got to be honest, I got a little behind in the last week due to life, but traveling 12 hours, you can kind of throw maybe I shouldn't say this, but you can kind of throw Netflix or SmackDown on your phone and kind of just have it play as you're driving down the street. You don't really have to pay attention to the screen. You can just listen to the commentary. And so that was a perfect way for me to catch up on all the wrestling that I had been missing. And in all honesty, if I'm being honest, there's really not a ton to talk about. Obviously, we're setting up some matches for Clash in Paris. That's the next pay-per-view on the schedule. And you have John Cena. He's going to be going up against Logan Paul. So they had laid out the groundwork for that. And then you have Drew McIntyre. He's going to be facing Cody. I like to see that feud. But other than that, way too much MFT stuff. So Solo and his group of vagabonds and every Sokoa on the tree, it's just becoming, I have a feeling I'm going to get tired of this. I'm kind of already tired of this. And if this keeps going, I don't want to see Nash Pac on my TV. It's fun. It was fun at first because I think it was crazy, the likeness of this Talatonga guy in relation to Kevin Nash and X-Pac, but I'm not too interested. I'm not too invested in the MFTs. I like Solo. I had told you guys before, him when he's doing the comedy stuff, I love. This serious stuff where they're just jumping in on everybody. Now they're bringing in Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso, and they're jumping in with Jacob Fatu, and everyone's tagging, and it's just like, oh God, I'm kind of over it. The MFTs do nothing for me. Kind of done with it. We obviously set up the Fatal 4-Way with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. I think that'll be a heck of a match. But the thing I want to talk about the most, Io Sky, she had a match with Roxanne Perez. That match was great. Awesome match. And this just proves that Io Sky is one of the best wrestlers, not just female wrestlers. I think she is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. You could put her out there with anybody. She's had banger after banger with Rhea. She can wrestle Roxanne. She can wrestle anybody. She is awesome. I love watching her matches. In my opinion, her matches are must-see TV. Love the matches. She's great. She's just freaking great. What else do I want to talk about in the world of wrestling? Yeah, Friday Night SmackDown, the one from a few days ago, there was really not too much going on. Like I said, too much MFTs, and it was kind of a boring episode. But my wife and I managed to watch the very first episode of WWE UNREAL on Netflix. If you haven't seen this, I highly recommend this show. About 55 minutes, about an hour, and we only watched episode 1, so we're going to dive into the rest of the season shortly, but I thought it was a really cool show. Really cool. The first episode obviously focused on the Raw debut on Netflix and what they were doing to prepare for that, and it kind of focused on Rhea Ripley, CM Punk, his relationship with Triple H, that kind of deal. Rhea Ripley, the whole thing with her injuries and how she was fighting with nerves and just feeling inadequate. And it was cool to get a peek behind the curtain to see what she's dealing with. The CM Punk Triple H thing, this kind of gave you some insight into how these two have tried to work out a deal for him to return prior to his actual return, which was a couple years ago. And they just weren't feeling it. They were kind of adversaries, and it wasn't a good time, and things happen for a reason. And it took a little longer than normal to get him back, but that was interesting to see. But what I was thinking when I was watching this show is they're showing you gorilla position, and they're showing how they this is the most important space for each and every show, whether it's SmackDown, Raw, pay-per-view, what have you. They were showing what goes into setting it up and the seating arrangements and the tables and who sits where and what everyone's job is. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, this would never happen 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. It's absolutely crazy that they're showing you this. They're showing how matches get produced and how important timekeeping is, and how the communication between different people in gorilla to the referee, and the referee passing on information to the wrestlers. And I'm just like, I can't believe they're actually showing this. Now I know gone is this idea that everybody knows the outcomes are predetermined at this point. We're not in the 80s anymore. I'm well aware of that, but it's like seeing a magician learning how they do certain tricks. I just couldn't believe that I was watching all this stuff unfold, and it was pretty cool. I can't wait to see where the show goes next, but I think it's very telling to see how far we've come with wrestling in the last 40 years, so I thought it was a good show. I was thoroughly entertained and can't wait to see what we have next on episode 2 and the rest of the season. But anyway, I think that is going to wrap up this episode of the 3Ts podcast. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for listening, for joining me. Again, apologies for missing last episode, but if you have enjoyed this episode or any episode of the 3Ts podcast, do me a favor, share it with someone you know. Any Mafia member, any car collector, anyone who loves wrestling, doesn't matter. Trying to grow this one episode at a time. So please hit that follow, leave me a quick review, help me build this thing. I appreciate you all very, very much. So until next time, whether it's ripping packs, breaking tables, or dropping elbows, keep doing what you love. And as always, go Bills.